People don't vanish in 3 minutes unless something takes them.
27-year-old Sarah Langford left her apartment in Eugene, Oregon at exactly 8:12 a.m. She carried her usual thermos, her canvas tote bag, and a notebook full of sketches. At 8:14, she texted her coworker, "On my way." She drove off in her white Subaru and headed toward Highway 126. CCTV captured her passing Oak Ridge Avenue at 8:41 a.m. 3 minutes later, at 8:44, the next camera should have caught her. It didn't. Sarah wasn't speeding. She wasn't rerouting. She didn't take a turn. Her car simply vanished between two cameras positioned only 1.1 miles apart. 6 witnesses later claimed they saw her being followed by a black SUV. The problem? Each described a different make and model: a Chevy, a Jeep, a Ford, a Toyota. 4 different cars, but only one mysterious tale. Investigators questioned all 6 witnesses, and every one of them insisted they were sure of what they saw. This created the first fracture in the investigation. Was the SUV changing appearance, or were the witnesses manipulated by the same event? Sarah disappeared in 3 minutes. That was the beginning. At 7:23 p.m., nearly 11 hours after Sarah vanished, her mother received a call from Sarah's number. The moment she answered, she heard nothing but wind interference, a low whistling, and a faint metallic tapping. She shouted her daughter's name, desperate for any response. Nothing. The call lasted 41 seconds before disconnecting. When police traced it, the signal came from Dead Man's Trail, a remote hiking route known for poor reception, 19 miles from Sarah's last known location. Forensics revealed that the phone had been manually powered off exactly 2 minutes after the call ended. Someone had pressed the button. Phone logs showed one chilling search made after Sarah vanished. How long can someone survive in the cold? This search was typed at 5:52 p.m., nearly 2 hours before the call to her mother. The question wasn't just who had Sarah's phone. The real question was, why did they want her mother to hear that call? Police mapped Sarah's route. To reach her workplace, she had to cross the Franklin Bridge, a busy stretch monitored by 3 cameras. Her Subaru never appeared on any of them. Investigators checked previous footage. Every car before her appeared normally. Every car after her appeared normally. Only Sarah's Subaru vanished between Oak Ridge Avenue and Franklin Bridge, a stretch of road with no exits, no side streets, no turnarounds. Search teams combed the area. No skid marks, no broken glass, no sign of an accident. The pavement was wet from the morning drizzle, yet no tire tracks left the roadway. It was as if her car dissolved into the air. One investigator, a 17-year veteran, wrote privately, "This is not a traffic disappearance. This is a controlled extraction." The term controlled extraction is used in military abduction cases. In civilian life, it almost never appears. Among the witnesses, one stood out, a gas station cashier named Angela Merrick. She told investigators she saw Sarah's Subaru drive past her station around 8:43 a.m., just 1 minute before the disappearance window. She described Sarah in the driver's seat, head down, focused, nothing unusual. But Angela hesitated before finishing her statement. Then she said something investigators couldn't explain. "I swear, I saw another woman in the passenger seat, but she looked just like Sarah." Investigators dismissed the claim as stress or misinterpretation, but Angela doubled down. She described both women having the same hair length, same facial features, same posture, a mirrored pair, she called them. When detectives showed her a photo lineup of Sarah, Angela pointed immediately and said, "Yes, that one, both of them." Two identical women in the same car. Impossible. Yet Angela never changed her story. 3 days after Sarah vanished, an Oregon Department of Transportation employee contacted investigators about a glitched traffic alert from Highway 126. The alert appeared at 8:45 a.m., 1 minute after Sarah disappeared. It read, "Road obstruction, 2 vehicles stopped on shoulder." The report auto-deleted minutes later because it was never confirmed by a responding patrol. When police pulled server logs, that alert was gone, permanently, wiped beyond normal deletion. But a technician uncovered a fragment of the raw metadata, 2 partial license plate patterns. One matched Sarah's Subaru, the other belonged to a black SUV registered to an owner in Idaho, an owner who had died in 2019. A dead man's car was at the scene of Sarah's disappearance. But that vehicle was never seen again. Search teams reached Dead Man's Trail the morning after the mysterious phone call. About a quarter-mile in, they found something strange. A set of single footprints on the wet soil. Not 2 people walking, not back-and-forth movement, just one set, going deeper into the forest. The prints matched Sarah's shoe size and tread pattern. But here's the impossible part. There were exactly 14 footprints. Then the trail ended. No drag marks, no turn, no slipping, no scattering. As if she stepped into thin air. One investigator said, "It's like she walked straight into a wall nobody can see." A cadaver dog alerted at the final footprint, circled, whined, then backed away. Dogs don't back away unless they sense something wrong, something unnatural. GPS trackers on the search team glitched for the next 6 minutes, recording impossible movements like sudden jumps of 30 to 40 feet. When the data was exported, the timestamps around the disappearance zone were corrupted. Footprints that start and never return. A phone that pings in a place without reception. And GPS timestamps that warp near the same location. Investigators couldn't explain it. A week into the investigation, police received a tip from a man named Trevor Hale. He said he saw a distressed woman matching Sarah's description walking near the river at 9:10 a.m. the day she vanished. But there was a major problem. Trevor called to report this sighting at 7:03 a.m., more than 2 hours before Sarah even left her apartment. At first, detectives thought it was a mistake in the call log. But the timestamp was accurate. The call originated from a landline. It couldn't have auto-shifted. When questioned, Trevor insisted he saw Sarah that morning. He described her clothes perfectly. Denim jacket, green tote bag, hair tied back, details only someone who saw her that morning could know. Except no one had posted her missing poster yet. No news had aired. No photos were online. Those details weren't public knowledge. How did Trevor describe Sarah's exact outfit before the disappearance happened? Police searched his home. No trace of Sarah, no suspicious items. Trevor passed a polygraph. But investigators quietly added a note to his file. Subject's account may indicate pre-detection or premature awareness. A nearby farm had a security camera pointed toward a service road connecting to Highway 126. Police reviewed the footage from the morning Sarah disappeared. At 8:44:12 a.m., the moment Sarah's Subaru should have passed, the footage turned pure black. Not static, not distortion, just a clean, perfect blackout, lasting exactly 17 seconds. Then the image returned, as if nothing happened. During those 17 seconds, audio continued recording. And that's where investigators found something disturbing. Wind, leaves, a distant engine, and then a faint voice, a woman whispering, "Help me." The whisper wasn't close to the microphone. It wasn't projected. It sounded like it was being carried by the wind toward the camera. And right after the whisper, a second voice, deeper, calmer, said, "Stop struggling." Forensic audio analysts confirmed the voice patterns matched Sarah's speech profile. But here's the chilling detail. The microphone range on that camera is only 12 feet. The road is 97 feet away. Sarah's voice should have been impossible to record, unless she was far closer, during the blackout. 2 days later, a highway patrol officer near Sisters, Oregon, spotted a black SUV matching the witness descriptions. He attempted to pull it over for questioning. The SUV slowed, swerved, then pulled onto a gravel turnout. The officer approached with caution. The windows were fogged. The engine was still running, but when he opened the driver's door, the seat was empty. No one was inside. No driver, no passenger. No footprints outside the vehicle. Backup arrived. They searched the vehicle. The seats were warm, suggesting someone had been driving moments before. But here's the impossible part. Dash cam footage from the patrol car showed the SUV moving steadily in its lane, braking normally, signaling, as if controlled by an invisible driver. Data pulled later from the SUV's onboard computer showed steering corrections and acceleration changes too smooth to be mechanical failure or cruise control. Inside the glove compartment, officers found a single torn photograph, a woman facing away from the camera, hair and build identical to Sarah. On the back was one handwritten word, "Soon." Weather reports noted a mild drizzle the morning Sarah vanished, but at one spot along Highway 126, exactly halfway between the two cameras that lost her, searchers found something scientifically baffling. The rainwater on the asphalt had pooled in strange oval shapes that didn't match the road's slope. Drops on certain sections were elongated vertically, as if pulled upward rather than falling downward. Investigators measured the droplets' impact angles, 134 degrees. Rain cannot naturally fall at that angle. A meteorologist later examined a freeze-frame photo and asked, was there a helicopter hovering above? There wasn't. There were no rotors, no aircraft, no turbulence. Yet leaves and debris were scattered in a perfect spiral pattern around the area, as if a small vortex had formed briefly. One investigator whispered a theory that never made the official report. This looks like displacement, like something occupied that space for a moment, then vanished. When asked what something meant, he refused to explain further. Sarah's trail didn't just stop, it warped. 3 days after Sarah's disappearance, a hiker on Crescent Ridge Trail snapped a scenic photo of the valley. When he uploaded it at home, he noticed something in the far background. A woman standing near the tree line, half turned toward the camera. She wore a denim jacket, green tote bag, and her hair was tied back, the exact outfit Sarah wore the day she vanished. The hiker contacted police immediately. Forensic analysts enhanced the image. The woman's face was blurry, consistent with motion distortion, but her build, hairstyle, and clothing matched Sarah perfectly. Behind her, partially obscured by trees, was a black shape resembling a vehicle, tall, angular, almost like the same dark SUV witnesses described. But here's the eerie detail. The metadata showed the photo was taken at 8:44 a.m. on September 17th, exactly 3 days after Sarah disappeared, to the minute. Investigators compared satellite data. No hikers were logged on that trail at that time, no vehicles, No phone pings. Nothing. It was a dead zone. How did Sarah appear on a trail no one accessed that morning? And why at the exact time she vanished 3 days earlier? Investigators canvassed Crescent Ridge Trail, questioning anyone who had been in the area. A lone backpacker named Lydia Brooke reported something chilling. She said that on September 15th, one day after Sarah vanished, she heard someone calling from deeper in the woods. A woman's voice shouting, "Hello? Hello?" Lydia called back, "Who's there?" The voice replied, "My name is Sarah. I need help." Lydia headed toward the sound, but the forest seemed to distort the direction. The voice bounced unpredictably, sometimes ahead, sometimes behind, sometimes far to her left. After 10 minutes, the voice went silent. Lydia never found anyone. When investigators interviewed her, they asked her to describe the voice. Lydia paused and said, "It sounded scared, but also like it was repeating something, like she wasn't talking to me, like she was stuck saying the same lines." Audio experts attempted to simulate forest echo patterns. The distances didn't match, the reflections didn't match, the delays were impossible. Whatever Lydia heard, it wasn't a normal voice in a normal space, but the words were unmistakable. "My name is Sarah." On September 20th, nearly a full week after Sarah vanished, a state trooper reported seeing a white Subaru parked at a rest area near Mackenzie Pass. He recognized the license plate instantly, Sarah's. He approached carefully with a flashlight. The windows were fogged. The inside was dark. But as he reached for his radio to call backup, the Subaru's headlights suddenly flicked on. The engine revved, and the car sped away. The trooper chased it for nearly 4 minutes before the Subaru swerved onto an unmarked dirt road and vanished behind a thick wall of pines. When patrol vehicles searched the area, there were no tire tracks, no engine sounds, no dust trail. The car had evaporated. Hours later, dashcam footage revealed something unnatural. During the chase, the Subaru's taillights flickered in a rhythmic pattern. 3 long flashes, 2 short, then 3 long again. Morse code translation, SOS. Someone in that car was signaling for help. But was it Sarah or someone else using her car? 9 days after Sarah vanished, her debit card, frozen by the bank, triggered a fraud alert. Someone attempted a $6.37 purchase at a remote gas station outside Sisters, Oregon. Police arrived within minutes. The clerk said a woman had used the card earlier that morning. He described her as pale, trembling, dirty clothes, like she'd been in the woods for days. When detectives showed him Sarah's photo, he said, "That's her, exactly her." But the timestamp on the receipt contained an impossible detail. The time was stamped 8:44 a.m., the same minute Sarah vanished. And it wasn't a machine error. The timestamp matched the store's analog wall clock and the transaction log. Police pulled the security footage. The screen showed the inside of the store clearly. Customers, the counter, the clerk. But at 8:44 a.m., when the purchase should have been made, the footage cut to static, and for 23 seconds, a whispering voice could be heard through the store microphone. "Help! I'm lost. I can't get out." Then the video resumed as if nothing happened. No woman, no transaction, only the receipt remained. On the 10th day, police received a call from a trucker passing through the Cascades. He claimed a woman flagged him down near a logging road. She was frightened, disoriented, and repeatedly said her name was Sarah Langford. The trucker offered to call for help, but the woman panicked and ran back into the forest. When police traced the trucker's route, They found partial footprints consistent with Sarah's size leading toward the woods. But these prints overlapped something disturbing. Prints from two other individuals, one large, one small, moving in the same direction. When detectives interviewed the trucker, he provided a detail he shouldn't have known. He said, "She kept repeating a number, 844. No news outlet had mentioned the exact disappearance time. It had not been publicly released. Only investigators and Sarah's immediate family knew. The trucker passed all background checks. He had nothing to gain, nothing suspicious in his past. Yet he somehow knew the minute Sarah vanished and claimed she told him herself. During a deeper search of Sarah's apartment, investigators found a folded topographic map inside her sketchbook. The map showed hiking trails, rural roads, and abandoned logging routes around Dead Man's Trail. One location was circled in red ink, a remote clearing labeled only as Sector 8. But here's the frightening part. The ink used to circle it was tested and found to be at least 3 months old, long before Sarah vanished. Yet Sarah had never visited that area, never searched it on her phone, and never spoken about it to anyone. Her browser history showed zero interest in hiking or rural exploration. Detectives hiked to the circled location. At the center of Sector 8, they found a narrow depression in the soil, almost like an old foundation line. Nearby trees showed faint carvings, tally marks grouped in sets of 5, 32 marks total. As investigators walked the perimeter, one detective's radio captured a faint signal. A woman's voice whispering, "Don't leave me here." But no one else heard it. The recording vanished when the radio powered off. Why did Sarah mark Sector 8 months before her disappearance? And how did someone or something know she'd end up there? Sarah's iCloud account automatically backed up 2 days after she vanished. Inside the backup was an encrypted audio file labeled only _44. Forensics cracked it after 2 days. The audio lasted 22 seconds. It began with heavy breathing, distant wind, and faint footsteps. Then Sarah's voice. "It's following me. I can't see it. I can only hear it." Then a low mechanical hum, steady, pulsating, unnatural. In the background, something like metal scraping across asphalt. Near the end, a man's voice said 2 words, "Stay still." Then silence. Location metadata on the file indicated the audio was recorded after Sarah disappeared. But the phone itself was off during that time. No power, no battery. Logically impossible. When investigators cleaned the spectrogram, they detected a strange sub-frequency embedded in the hum. Too perfect, too symmetrical, almost machine-generated. Engineers said it wasn't natural sound, it wasn't weather, it wasn't human. Someone recorded Sarah after she vanished. Or something used her device when it wasn't even on. A highway maintenance worker named Dale Prescott reported something baffling. On September 15th, he was repairing a guardrail near Highway 126 when he saw a woman stumbling out of the tree line, dirty, confused, barefoot. She whispered, "Help me," before collapsing. He rushed toward her. She vanished behind a bend. When he turned the corner, she was gone. 2 days later, he saw the same woman again, this time standing completely still in the middle of the road at dawn. Her clothes were different, cleaner, hair neatly tied back, as if nothing had happened. When he called out, she looked directly at him. Dale swore her eyes looked unfocused, like she was looking through him, not at him. Before he could approach, a black SUV pulled into the lane. The woman turned, climbed into the passenger seat, and the vehicle drove away. Dale wrote down the license plate. When police ran it, the system returned a chilling response. Plate retired. Owner deceased. It was the same dead man's SUV from Part 5, and the same woman who had collapsed in the woods 2 days earlier. Investigators finally searched an abandoned drainage tunnel beneath Highway 126, not far from where Sarah's Subaru was last seen. The tunnel smelled of rust and stagnant water. 40 feet inside, they found scratch marks along the concrete wall. Deep, uneven, frantic. Forensics matched them to Sarah's nail patterns with 98.4% certainty. But here's what made the scene impossible. The scratches were 1.7 meters above ground level. Sarah would have needed to be lifted, held, or suspended to reach that height. There were no footprints, no ropes, no drag marks. Then the strangest detail of all. The scratch marks weren't carved into the concrete. They were carved behind it, embedded beneath a thin outer layer, as if they existed before the surface was poured. Yet the tunnel was built in 2004. Sarah was born in 1994. Investigators checked blueprints. The tunnel had no renovations, no patches, no resurfacing. So how did Sarah's nail patterns appear inside a structure built when she was a child? A structural engineer summarized it best. Something's wrong with the timeline. Police released a missing person alert statewide. Within hours, a tourist sent them a video taken on the Mackenzie River footbridge an hour before sunset on September 14th. In the video, families walk by, birds scatter, water rushes below. At the 5-second mark, a woman enters the frame. She is wearing a denim jacket. She is carrying a green tote bag. And she looks exactly like Sarah. Investigators froze the frame. Her face was clear. It was undeniably her. But the timestamp on the video was 7:08 p.m. Impossible, because Sarah's phone had already called her mother at 7:23, pinging from Dead Man's Trail 19 miles away. No known vehicle, aircraft, or person could travel from the bridge to the trail in 15 minutes. Not through dense forest, not without being recorded by multiple cameras. And here was the detail that shattered investigators. The sunlight angle in the video wasn't from that day. It matched the sky conditions from September 11th, 3 days before Sarah disappeared. The tourist insisted the video was shot on the 14th. The timestamp insisted the 14th. But the Sun said otherwise. On the 11th day, search teams focused on Sector 8, the location circled on Sarah's map months before she vanished. Drones scanned from above, while ground units swept the forest floor. At 3:14 p.m., a searcher named Collins called out, "Sarah, can you hear us?" His microphone captured something no one else heard in real time, a woman's voice answering, "Yes, I'm here." The voice matched Sarah perfectly. But here's the chilling part. The clearing was empty. Collins froze the moment he heard the playback. Audio analysis showed 0 delay, meaning the voice replied from within 30 feet of him. But infrared scans detected no body heat, no movement, no other person. As they replayed the audio slower, another sound emerged beneath Sarah's voice. A deep mechanical hum, the same frequency detected in the encrypted phone file. The reply had been crystal clear, but the source didn't physically exist at the scene. The hum faded, the signal dropped, and the forest went silent. One investigator wrote privately, "Sector 8 is not where Sarah is. It's where whatever took her communicates." While canvassing older missing person cases along Highway 126, detectives revisited unsolved disappearances from the late 90s. One file stood out. Emily Rourke, age 27, vanished in 1998 under nearly identical circumstances. Disappeared between two camera points. Car never found. When investigators showed Emily's family a photo of Sarah for comparison, Emily's now elderly father whispered, "That's her. That's Emily." Detectives corrected him, explaining it was a recent case. He shook his head violently. "No, she looks the same. Same eyes, same face, same hair. My Emily looked exactly like this woman the week before she disappeared." The resemblance was uncanny. Sarah and Emily could have been twins separated by decades. DNA confirmed they were not related. No shared ancestry, no genetic overlap. Detectives found another disturbing parallel. Both women had circled Sector 8 on their maps. But maps from 1998 and 2021 were printed by different companies at different scales using different coordinate systems. Yet both circles landed on the exact same point, a clearing with nothing visible, nothing built, nothing logged. Two women, 23 years apart, marking the same impossible location. On day 13, a truck stop cashier in Bend, Oregon, called police about a disturbing incident. At 3:17 a.m., a woman walked inside, dirty, trembling, barefoot, wearing a denim jacket far too large for her frame. She asked for water. When the cashier turned around to get it, the woman whispered, "He's coming." The cashier looked back. She was gone. Security footage showed the sliding doors opening, with no one entering. But the audio track captured a soft voice near the counter. "Please, please." Forensics enhanced the audio. The voice matched Sarah. What makes this impossible is that the footage came from Bend, 72 miles from the Dead Man's Trail ping location on the same night. No car was seen on the highway at that hour matching her description. No footprints outside the station. No vehicle on the cameras. Then the most chilling details surfaced. The timestamp of 3:17 a.m. matched the time of a missing frame from a highway traffic cam, the same system that glitched at 8:44 a.m. Wherever Sarah was moving, cameras failed the moment she appeared. Divers searched the Mackenzie River, hoping for a trace of Sarah's car or belongings. For hours, they found nothing but silt and fallen branches. Then, at a depth of 18 feet, one diver signaled to surface immediately. When he emerged, he ripped off his mask, shaking violently. "Someone's down there," he gasped. When questioned, he explained that beneath the water he heard a voice, not muffled like underwater sound, but crystal clear in his head, a woman's voice whispering, "Help me." Other divers rotated in. Two more reported the same phenomenon. They described the voice as close, immediate, as if speaking directly into their ears, despite the impossible physics. The dive team's underwater microphones captured a faint resonance, 4 distinct syllables, matching Sarah's vocal pattern. But even more disturbing, the riverbed contained perfectly straight grooves, each spaced exactly 3 feet apart, cutting through the stone as if something heavy had been dragged upstream instead of downstream. Current cannot move upstream. Animals cannot leave symmetrical grooves. Whatever happened beneath the water did not follow natural rules, and Sarah's voice should not have been there. On day 15, investigators got an alert. Sarah's debit card attempted another transaction. This time for $0, a balance inquiry. The ATM was destroyed and abandoned years ago, located deep inside a closed mine tunnel 40 miles east of Sisters. Police descended into the tunnel, where the air was cold enough to see every breath. They found the ATM shattered, brittle, rusted from decades of exposure. Yet the card reader emitted a faint warm glow, still active. Security logs stored inside the machine held one final entry. Card inserted, 0844. No date, only the time. The same time Sarah vanished. The same time she appeared on the river bridge footage. The same time each impossible event occurred. When investigators pulled the machine apart, they found something impossible lodged behind the card slot. Sarah's card, perfectly clean, unbent, dry. Under UV light, 4 faint fingerprints appeared on the plastic. 3 matched Sarah. The 4th did not match anyone in the national database. But analysis revealed something worse. The print belonged to someone with identical ridge patterns to Sarah, a genetic impossibility. Someone else out there had her exact fingerprint structure. Day 16. A volunteer searcher named Melissa spotted something unusual near mile marker 47 on Highway 126. A woman stood motionless at the tree line, facing the road. The denim jacket, the green tote bag, the exact silhouette Sarah Langford left home with. Melissa froze. She whispered, "Sarah?" The woman didn't respond. She simply stood there, not breathing, not blinking. Melissa called out again. The woman slowly turned her head, mechanical, unnatural. Her eyes were unfocused, glassy, as if she was awake but not conscious. Melissa took one step forward. In that instant, the woman vanished, not running, not hiding, gone like a framed removed from a film reel. Melissa rushed to the spot. The ground held a perfect set of footprints. They matched Sarah's size and tread exactly. But here's the disturbing detail. The soil showed no impressions of movement between the prints, no approach, no departure, only 2 footprints side by side, as if she had materialized there. Behind the prints, investigators found a small torn piece of denim fabric, tested and confirmed to match Sarah's jacket. Someone, or something, was placing Sarah in locations without leaving a trace of arrival. When investigators revisited Sarah's apartment, they examined her sketchbook more carefully. Page 42 contained a rough charcoal drawing of a forest clearing. The shading style looked rushed, uneven, unusual for Sarah, who had steady hands and neat lines. In the bottom corner were the words, written in shaky print, "Don't follow it." But forensic handwriting analysts found something shocking. The words were written in 2 different handwriting patterns. The first part, "Don't," matched Sarah's handwriting. The second part, "Follow it," did not match her or anyone else known. But here's the most disturbing discovery. The pressure on the pencil marks indicated the 2 halves were written simultaneously, as if 2 hands wrote at the same time, overlapping each other's strokes. Ink residue revealed something even worse. Microscopic graphite from 2 different pencils, though only 1 pencil existed in Sarah's apartment. And behind the words lay faint indentations of repeated phrases. "I see myself," "She's not me," "I can hear my voice twice." Something had been communicating with Sarah through her own hands before she vanished. Remember Dale Prescott, the man who saw Sarah twice? On day 18, he made a frantic call to police at 2:11 a.m. He whispered, "She's outside my truck. She's knocking, but something's wrong with her face." The dispatcher urged him to stay calm. "Is she injured?" Dale replied, trembling, "No, it's like her face is moving, like someone else is wearing her skin." The line went silent. Then 3 knocks were heard, slow, even. Then a woman's voice, "Please open the door, I'm cold." The dispatcher asked, "Sir, is she still there?" A long pause, then Dale whispered, "She looks like Sarah, but her shadow doesn't match." Gunshots erupted. The call disconnected. Police arrived 24 minutes later. Dale was gone. His truck door was open. The windshield cracked from the inside. But on the glass was one perfect palm print, matching Sarah's fingerprints exactly. Except Sarah had been missing 18 days, and that print showed fresh body heat. The disappearance was no longer a missing person case. It had become infiltration. Day 20. Search teams discovered a body near the banks of the Mackenzie River. Female, mid-20s, denim jacket, a green tote bag. The face was badly damaged, but the dental records matched Sarah Langford. The coroner declared time of death approximately September 14th, the very day she vanished. Police notified the family. Case closed. Except it wasn't. Because 2 hours after the discovery, a man hiking 5 miles upriver reported seeing a woman who looked like Sarah walking barefoot through the trees. When shown a post-mortem photograph from the recovery site, he said, "That's her, but I saw her today, alive." Investigators dismissed it as trauma or confusion. Then came the impossible detail. The dead body had no fingerprints. They'd been smoothed clean, erased perfectly. Yet earlier that morning, her fingerprints were found fresh on Dale's truck. Forensics concluded. The body found near the river was Sarah's genetic match, but not Sarah. It was a biological copy, a double. Something out there was replacing her, piece by piece. On day 21, investigators accessed one final data source, Sarah's smartwatch. Though water-damaged, they recovered one corrupted voice memo recorded automatically at 8:44 a.m., the exact moment everything began. The audio was distorted, but 3 voices were identifiable. First, Sarah's voice. "It's right next to me." Second, a deeper voice. "She can see us now." Then a third voice, whispering, identical to Sarah's voice in tone and pattern, overlapping her own speech, "Don't fight." Spectrogram analysis revealed something horrifying. The third voice matched Sarah's vocal signature 99.97%, impossible unless genetically identical. But the 2 voices spoke at different frequencies, different timing, different breath patterns. 2 Sarahs, 2 voices, 1 moment. Investigators finally concluded the only consistent pattern across every impossible event. Every sighting, every phone call, every glitch, every timestamp, every photograph, every encounter, all happened at 8:44, no matter the day, no matter the distance. The case file ends with the final line from the smartwatch recording, spoken by the second Sarah. 8:44 isn't a time, it's an opening. The investigation was sealed. The case remains unsolved, and Sarah Langford was never found.